All right, let's talk about Mantle Network. Now, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to skip all the hype, forget about the price predictions for a minute, and just dig into the raw data, the development, and the actual strategy. We're going to try to figure out what's really being built here and, why this might be one of the most important and maybe most overlooked projects in the entire Ethereum ecosystem. So let me ask you this. In the world of blockchain, where everything is just noise and hype, right? Does the loudest project always come out on top? Is that really how it works? Or is there maybe another way, a path where the projects that last, the really durable ones, are the ones building quietly, totally out of the spotlight? And that right there, that's what brings us to Mantle. See, Mantle is kind of like the counter narrative to all that noise. It's making a bet, a big one. The bet is that in the long run, having rock-solid infrastructure and actual real-world use is going to matter way more than any flashy marketing campaign. This is the story of a quiet builder. Okay, so let's get into Mantle's institutional blueprint. To really get this quiet builder idea, we've got to look at the plan. What is Mantle, really? And what's its specific job in the whole ecosystem? So at its heart, Mantle is an Ethereum Layer 2. Its whole job is to make transactions faster and way cheaper. But what really makes it different is its modular architecture. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of it like building with Legos instead of trying to carve something out of one big block of stone. It just makes it so much easier to upgrade and adapt down the line. And here's the kicker. It was born out of the BitDAO ecosystem, which means it had a massive treasury behind it from day one. It was literally built for the long haul. And this is where Mantle's vision gets super clear. See, it's not trying to be the L2 for everybody and their dog. Nope. Its goal is way more specific. It wants to be the go-to place for serious liquidity. We're talking about the big stuff: advanced DeFi, tokenized real-world assets, institutional money. It's carving out its own little corner of the world, on purpose, which is a totally different game than all the other L2s out there chasing retail users. Okay, and this vision isn't just talk. It's backed up by a really smart technical roadmap. So step one, they're plugging into EigenDA. What's that? It's basically a way to make storing transaction data super, super cheap, which is absolutely crucial if you want to scale. Step two, they are laser focused on optimizing costs and just how much the network can handle. And finally, step three, the whole network is built to eventually move towards ZK tech, zero-knowledge proofs for top-tier security and privacy, but without having to tear everything down and start over. It's designed to evolve. It's built to adapt. All right, next up, data over marketing. So if Mantle isn't spending all its time and money on hype, what are they doing? Well, the answer is right there in the data. Let's look at the proof that they're actually working and the proof that people are actually using it. This quote really just nails it, doesn't it? Mantle doesn't focus on hype, constant marketing, or immediate revolutions. And that, paradoxically, is a strength. I mean, think about that. In a space that is nothing but noise, deciding not to play that game, that's a huge strategic move. It's basically telling the market, hey, we're focused on substance here, we're building for the long term. Okay, proof of work. Now, the first question any serious investor asks about a project is pretty simple. Are people still building, right? Well, with Mantle, you just have to look at their GitHub activity. The proof, as they say, is in the pudding, or in this case, the code. So when you actually dive into their GitHub, you see this really clear pattern. Look at the core infrastructure. You've got constant commits. That tells you the technical work never stops. Then you look at security. They're doing ongoing audits. That shows a real commitment to keeping things safe. And then feature enhancements, regular improvements, which means active development is happening. I mean, these are not the signs of a project that's been left to die. These are the vital signs of a project that is very much alive and kicking. All right, so we know they're building. Cool. But is anyone actually using it? This is where we shift gears from proof of work to proof of use. And the on-chain data, it shows a story of growth that is steady, sustainable, and maybe most important of all, it's organic. Yeah, when you look at the on-chain data, you don't see any of those crazy artificial spikes you get from some big marketing push. Instead, look at the transaction volume. You see a rise in large volume transactions. That suggests serious players are using the network. The overall network usage, it's stable, it's consistent, it's not all over the place. And the token distribution is actively moving around, which points to a healthy, breathing ecosystem. This right here is what real organic growth looks like on-chain. And look, this isn't just theory. This whole institutional focus is already turning into actual real-world stuff. Mantle is becoming the place for things like complex DeFi products, advanced yield-bearing assets, and the basic plumbing you need for tokenizing real-world assets. It's really solidifying its identity as a serious financial layer in the crypto space. Okay, on to our last section, future scenarios for Mantle. So we've got this solid foundation of development and real use. The big question is, where does it go from here? Let's break down some potential scenarios and see how Mantle stacks up against the competition. This comparison really just lays it all out, doesn't it? While a lot of other Layer 2s are out there fighting tooth and nail for retail attention with a ton of hype, Mantle is playing a totally different game. Its primary focus is infrastructure and efficiency. Its core strategy is about being modular and having a coherent plan. And its target audience? It's institutional players and advanced DeFi. It's a strategy that proves you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to have a solid plan. So, if we look ahead to 2026, we can kind of map out a few possibilities. The base case? Pretty simple. It just keeps growing steadily and solidifies its spot as a key financial L2. The bull case? It lands some major institutional adoption and becomes a leader in tokenizing real-world assets. But, we have to be realistic. There's also a risk case. The Layer 2 market is insanely crowded, and that competition is a real threat to pretty much every project out there. And this all circles back to the MNT token itself. See, the value of MNT is totally tied to this whole strategy we've been talking about. It's not designed to pump on some random fleeting trend. Its value comes from actual utility, things like transaction fees, governance rights, and real people and institutions adopting the network. Let's be clear, this isn't a meme coin, it's an infrastructure token. And I think this final quote just sums it all up perfectly. Mantle doesn't seek to be visible. It seeks to function well. And in blockchain, that often makes all the difference. In this crazy, chaotic world of crypto, that simple focus, just on being reliable and efficient, well, that might just be the biggest advantage of all. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. As this entire space starts to mature, who's really going to win in the long run? Is it going to be the networks that made the most noise, the ones that grabbed all the headlines? Or is it going to be the quiet builders? The ones who just put their heads down and focused on making something that simply and powerfully just works.